Prison Performing Arts brings the arts to incarcerated individuals and allows for self-expression and healing. We meet the executive director, whose mission is to continue to build second acts through the arts.
I am John Wolbers. As the new director, my hopes and dreams for the company would be helping with recovery from COVID, making sure that the incarcerated adults and justice-involved youth that we work with continue to get the great programming that we provide, continue to deepen the programming that we have, as we slowly, hopefully, start moving more and more into in-person programming, maybe branch into new facilities or adding new programming once we move out of this COVID world that we're all still inhabiting. Our motto is building second acts through the arts. And as a metaphor for plays, Act 1 is usually setting up the problem. The act ends with a big moment of crisis, and then Act 2 is resolving that, figuring out what happens next. And that's precisely what we aim to do with all of our participants, is providing them an opportunity to talk about, express the journey they've been on so far, and start visualizing the future that they want. I've actually been associated with Prison Performing Arts for a number of years as a freelancer. It began as an actor with a production of Or, produced by Slightly Askew Theater Ensemble. It was a 3-person show based on the life of Afra Ben, who, when the play begins, is in prison, and by the end of the play becomes basically one of England's poet laureates working for King Charles II. So it's a beautiful journey and arc of a real woman who was the first woman published in the English language. Over the years, started touring again as an actor, and then was hired as a teaching artist. Worked in the arts and healing program for inmates that are about to be released, helping them transition in their transition center, and then also writing curriculum. One of the things that I've learned about the actors themselves is never underestimate them. They are incredible. I think as a society, we neglect, ignore, and choose not to see incarcerated adults and justice-involved youth. We think of them as just sort of going away and they disappear, and that's absolutely not the case. There's so many people who are involved in the justice system, and most of them really are focusing on rehabilitation and bettering themselves. It was just a simple mistake or an unfortunate circumstance that put them where they are. And the only way to help them grow and reintegrate back into society in a successful way is to provide support and to provide safe places to express emotion, safe places to train themselves on how to speak in public, communication skills, express and navigate through all the trauma that being incarcerated involves. One of the most amazing things about performing in the spaces is the audiences are on their feet, they're clapping, they're cheering, they're egging you on, not just at the end of the show where, the traditional Fox clap, but they're so invested and so passionately dedicated to the story that you're sharing, because they don't get to see that very often, and especially live, in person. It's not on a screen, it's right there in front of them, and especially when they see their own stories reflected back to them, it gives them hope, it gives them inspiration. Prison Performing Arts is so dedicated to diversity, equity, inclusion, and accessibility, especially when it comes to race, gender identity, ability, and by providing opportunities for the entire gamut of people that we work with. Anyone can go to prison, anyone can be a justice-involved youth. They often say, what would happen if you were judged by your worst mistake in your life? And, there before the grace of God, how many of us have made a mistake once and regret it, but we still made those mistakes. And that's what's important, is giving those second chances, giving those opportunities for people to rebuild their lives.